Hello everybody and welcome to this quarter's cybersecurity update. So as everybody knows, we do a cybersecurity webinar once a quarter, and on this one we're going to do a deep dive into a specific topic. So we have a general cybersecurity webinar that we do that covers all of their topics, but now quarterly what we're doing is actually a deep dive into an individual topic. So today's webinar is going to be on online safety. So basically the goal of this is to keep you safe online. So let's move forward and see what that looks like. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about online safety, browsing and everything like that, and what does it take for your team to be secure. A little background about ourselves. Braver Technology Solutions. I'm Kenny Rounds. We are a managed service provider, so we provide VCIO services, IT support services, disaster recovery, AV, VoIP services, everything that you'd expect a good quality managed service provider to provide. That's what we provide, and we do it for various industries across the area. So we are well versed in many industries and what's involved and what takes them to get up to running to be at a good quality in their IT infrastructure. But also what we do is offer these cybersecurity training sessions. So why do we offer cybersecurity training? So we offer the cybersecurity training to keep your staff up to date and secure. A lot of companies charge for this training, and we decided early on this is way too important for us to charge. So we actually offer these free. Not only do we offer them free, we record them and put them right up on our website. We want you to have your staff well educated as they can be. Cybersecurity training is not a one and done thing. It's like going to the gym. If you go once, you're not going to get a lot of results. It's over and over and over again, and that's what we want you to adopt. We want you to keep going through the cybersecurity trainings over and over and over again. Sometimes there's going to be something new in there, but sometimes it's just re-emphasizing what you've already learned. Really important. This should also be part of your new hire policy. When somebody comes on board, you want to give them a set of videos to watch saying, hey, this is our cybersecurity program. Your job is to watch it and get up to date on what we expect you to do and know in the cybersecurity environment. Cybersecurity is constantly changing. Bad guys are getting smarter. They're getting better. What we're trying to do is keep you, as much as we can, keep you one step ahead of them. We put them right on our website. They're easy to find. Right up there under Resources, Cybersecurity Training. This video, when it's done, will be up there. It'll be ready for you to watch. You can send your team here and say, I want you to watch these 3 videos as part of your onboarding training. They're right here. We're trying to make this as seamless as possible. Okay, so why talk about online security? Well, the idea is basically this is where a lot of people are spending a lot of their time is in a web browser. A lot of applications happen in a web browser now. A lot of day-to-day tasks are happening in a web browser. So it's important that you take the security, and the hackers know that basically, and they're going after you going into their web browser. They know this is your gateway. This is how you're coming in. They're going to take advantage of that. So we thought it was important to do a deep dive into doing online. What we're going to do is give you 12 tips on what to do to stay safe online. These are the top 12 things that we think that you can do as a company and as your team to keep them focused to staying safe online. Everybody should be watching this video. Everybody should be going through these steps. The idea is to have somebody just have that aha moment that says, oh, wait, I saw this. I need to stop what I'm doing and make sure that this is safe. Okay. All right, so let's get to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is actually going to be a little bit unique for you, and you may not be expecting where it's coming from. Tip number 1 is for your team to be careful what they post online, even on their personal account. Why do we care what they post on their personal account? Well, guess what? If I'm a hacker, I'm going to go to your website and I'm going to see who your controller or CFO is. Then I'm going to start tracking that controller and CFO down on their personal social media site. Why would I do that? Well, it's going to give me a lot of insight into what they have and what they know. What are some things that I could find out? Well, I can find out when they're on vacation. If they're on vacation, that's a great time for me to attack. I can find out personal information about them. I can find out their pets. I can find out their birthdays. I can find out their kids' names. Those are all things that are going to be used in a security question when I go to reset a password, or they're going to be used in the password itself. Plus, if I crack that password, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and use that on you going through. So first and foremost, be clear with your staff what they should post online just for their own personal security as well, but then also it does have an effect on you. All right, privacy setting. When you're browsing the web and you're on a website, you actually are giving that information, you're giving that team information right away. Just by you being on their website, they can actually know a whole bunch of information about you without you typing in anything. So when you go to a website, you want to make sure you're going to the right website, and you want to make sure that you are being as secure as possible. What do I mean by that? Well, let me actually pull up an example here and show you. So this is a web report. This is actually an email that came in to somebody, got forwarded to me, who was very kind of the person to do it. So I went up to this website and I was checking out the website, and they said they got an automated email that said, hey, Kenny from Braver's up on your website. Here's what we know about them. Look at this information that they pulled on me just for me browsing their website. I did nothing else. I literally just browsed their website. All of a sudden, they know exactly what IP address I came from. They know what town I came from. They know the domain name that's associated with my browser. They also know what industry I'm in. Then look at this, possible contacts. They're picking up people that could possibly work at my company. They actually are finding out who's working at my company. That's great for social engineering. If I want to go in and start social engineering somebody, now I know who I can pretend I am, or who I can pretend I'm going to, or know who I'm going to attack. That's not it. It goes further. It can actually get you a link into all these social media accounts to actually get even more information into that person. Then it goes further. It actually tracks how often I've been to the site, how many times I've been there, what did I do when I was there, how many times did I visit. This is all information that they're getting on a regular basis from every time I go there. And then what does it do? It says, well, okay, do you want to add these people to your list? Do you want to keep following what they're doing? Why do they do this? So this is both from legitimate businesses and hackers alike are getting this information from you, and they're using it against you. This is a key piece of them going after you. So what are some things that you can do? Well, one of the things that you can do is get a third-party SSL VPN application. So you don't always need this, and that's fine. It just if you're safe. But if you are doing things that you're not sure if you're in control of your environment, these tools are a great way to hide your identity and hide your web traffic. We're going to get into a little bit of that later on as well, on where these come in handy. But you can get some tools. These are just 3 out there. There's a bunch out there that'll help you hide and mask that information that's getting sent out over the internet. Okay, so let's go into suspicious online links. So this is where, so what do we mean by suspicious online links? So number one, let's just say there could be anything. Could be an email that comes in with a link in it. Could be somewhere that you're going. A real easy case in point would be that you go up onto CNN, onto their website, right? And you're reading through an article and you see an article and you click on it. Well, that article that you're reading on may not actually be part of CNN. And it takes you out of the CNN target. Now you're out of whatever protection they gave you. If they gave you anything, you're out of it. And now you're into this other website that you don't even know. Well, the links that are on that website, who knows what those are? A lot of times those are phishing and illegal web links that are coming up and bringing you over to different browsing pages and bringing you down a mainstream, and basically bringing you into a neighborhood that you don't want to be in, that you want to walk alone in that neighborhood at night. It's a scary place. You may not realize it. So you need to be really careful on the clickbait and the online quizzes and the tabloid headers and the free offers and the, hey, look at these, top 10 celebrities from the 80s. Look what they look like now. Those are all bad things for you to be at. And those are bad places for you to be at. And they open the gateway. Again, look at the information that they can gather from you just for you going to their website. You're basically giving them the invitation to track you and start monitoring you. All right. Public Wi-Fi. Panera Bread. Great. Go sit there, do work. Seems like such a great environment. That's public Wi-Fi. You're in a public domain. You have no security from them or the other customers in that building. it's very easy just to sit there and just watch your traffic go back and forth and just see what you're doing, see where you're browsing, see where you're going to. And I can start capturing that data if I want to. So you really, if you have to go into one of these public Wi-Fis, maybe it's an airport, maybe it's an airplane, make sure you're not doing things that are security related. Don't do anything with a bank account. Don't do anything with your credit card. Don't do anything finance related at all. Any credentials that you wouldn't want stolen, don't go there. Don't do it. Not on a public Wi-Fi. You could use one of those SSL VPNs that we talked about. That will help mask what you're doing and help secure you. But there's also another thing you could do. Just use your phone and set up a hotspot on there. Browse that way. Don't use the public Wi-Fi. So again, public Wi-Fi is fine, but you have to be very careful and diligent on what you do and what you're doing when you're up there. Just going up there, checking the news articles, everything like that, that's fine. Don't do anything confidential or anything critical to the business. All right. Next one we're going to talk about is downloads. So you may go to a website and they may say, okay, download this installer. Hopefully you're not doing that. And hopefully your team's not doing that. But if you are, you really need to be careful what you download. It is so easy to get the wrong application or the wrong thing or just have it not scanned at all. That's not good. So what you want to do is be very diligent and careful on what you download, that it is from a trusted source that you know, someone that you're familiar with and that you've been with before, that you have been sent this link and you are 100% sure this is what you're going to download. Then make sure you have up-to-date AV. We're going to get into that in a second, but make sure that you have it and that you know where it's from. Again, it's very simple, but it happens all the time. Password policies. Okay. Very careful on what your password policy is. You have to have it. You want to change your passwords regularly. Don't share your passwords. Don't reuse passwords. That means don't reuse them from multiple accounts. Don't use the same password on Facebook that you use on Target, that you use on Best Buy, that you use on your corporate account. Don't reuse passwords. Check your password strength. Make sure that it's strong. Don't use anything that could be weak or easy. Your pet's name and the birthday, we know you use it. Don't. It's not good. Put something at the end of it. A passphrase is better than a password. I had a great time this summer. It is much better than XYZ12345, right? It's much more difficult to crack. The longer, the better, right? Other thing that you can do is use a password manager, something like a LastPass, Password Boss, any of those. A password manager is a great way to randomize your passwords, and so you have one central password location, one central database that you're looking at. Of course, the question we always get is, well, what happens if somebody cracks that one central password database? It is a concern. It definitely is. It's weighs risks and opportunities, right? Like you gotta weigh your risks. There's no one solution in security, unfortunately. Everything's important. So the password policy is going to be critical to you. You got to make sure you have it. But here's another thing too: when you have bring your own devices, you can't enforce password policy. So that's another problem we're going to talk about in a moment. Okay, two-factor authentication. I can't stress this enough. Cannot stress this enough. If there's nothing else that you take from any of our cybersecurity webinars, it's two-factor authentication. It is the single most important protection that you can give yourself. Basically, if somebody cracks your password, you need them to have another step that they have to go through. I'm going to go one step further, and this is one that most people don't think of. When a site sends you a text message or has you call as part of their two-factor authentication, that is not as good as having an actual authentication application on your phone. Why is that? Well, really easy. Number one, T-Mobile has a breach where all their SIM cards numbers are released and all their phone numbers that are associated with it are released. That's all I need as a hacker. If you've ever grew up in a household back in the old days where there was hardwired phones and somebody's in the kitchen, they pick up the line, and somebody's in a bedroom and they pick up the line, they can hear each other talk. That's sort of like what can happen when a hacker gets your SIM card number and they get your phone number. They can listen in on your calls and text messages. When they do that, they can now break your two-factor authentication. The other thing that can happen, unfortunately it does happen, is that when that call comes in to you and you keep getting it over and over, like, no, I don't want to authorize it, All right, fine, I'll authorize that two-factor authentication. That's the hackers breaking you down. And it does happen. Unfortunately, it happened. We've had it happen. We've seen it happen to some clients, even in the last year. We've seen it happen to some clients where they just took the call and like, yeah, fine, all right, yes, I'm okay. It was the hackers actually going in for the two-factor authentication. They just gave them free reign right in. Use an app like Microsoft Authenticator, Duo, Google Authenticator, Passly. Any of those authenticator apps are going to be much stronger than just doing a text or a phone number. Okay, website reliability. Now, there's going to be some basic blocking and tackling here. Make sure it says HTTPS instead of HTTP. Verify the full URL. Look for names in the URL that are wrong. Is Amazon spelt wrong? Is Best Buy spelt wrong? Are those names just off? Look for that. Make sure you're, especially like Chase and Bank of America and all of those ones, make sure those domain names match where you expect to go. Then also, make sure the pages look like they're supposed to look like. They're not jumbled, they're going through. If you're at a major account, that website should be perfect. They have a huge team just doing that website. So if it looks off and there's spelling errors or there's mistypos, that should be a clue to you that, oh, maybe I'm not where I should be. Maybe I should be doing something else. That should clue you in on it. So basically, take an extra step and just look. I always look at the URL when I'm on a website. Am I at the right URL? Because guess what? That hacker is going to try and make that URL look just like just like the original one. That's what you're trying to prevent, is being on the wrong site and putting your credentials in there. Because that's the first step that they do. They do is that man-in-the-middle type of attack where they pretend to be a site that you're trying to go after. All right. Be careful who you meet online. This has to do with anywhere you are. If you open up a chat, if you're on a website and you're opening up a chat session for support, that's a problem. If somebody's clicking, sending you an email and trying to do a social media post or anything like that, they're trying to connect to you. When you connect to them, that's where the gateway opens. That's where they're actually starting to attack you. You might get different forms of them trying to attack you, but that's what they're trying to get at, is they're trying to get an open dialogue of communication with you to say, hey, I need you to go buy some iTunes gift cards. I need you to buy some Google gift cards. I need you to buy this, 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 and this. It's amazing how many times your team falls for that. Make sure when they're talking with somebody, either talking or on the phone or chatting with them, that they know who they're investigating and who they're communicating with. It's so easy for them to get scammed or phished into doing something with a bad actor. I'm actually going to give a free plug to this website here called ScamBaiter. If you have a chance to go up to their YouTube video, they actually have some really good videos on them actually going through and talking with the scammers directly. And sometimes they'll actually go the other way and they'll actually hack into the scammer's computer, which is actually kind of interesting to watch them go through. And they'll actually turn on the camera and actually talk to the person on their own speaker. So these are hackers who are actually duping people into coming into their own system. So keep an eye out for that. You can watch these videos. They're very handy to watch. All right, so let's talk about the different types of social engineering that your team might fall for. The number one is phishing. This one's probably the most common and most well-known one that people know of. It's basically people phishing your team, trying to get them to do something that they wouldn't otherwise do, but basically feeling like, oh yeah, no, I'm safe to click on this link or do something. Then we get into vishing and smishing, which is the same thing, but they're using different types of messages. So they use a phone call or a text message. Great example of this would be that somebody sends your team member a text message that says, hey, your computer's infected. I need you to click on this or do this. So what they do is they go and they call the number and say, oh, yeah. Oh, no, my phone says it's infected. Oh, all right, let me walk you through it and see if your phone is infected. They'll walk through the person and say, no, your phone's great, but you know what? A lot of times this attack actually takes your computer. Let's go over to your computer and I'll give you a special site to go to. And then they walk the user going over to the computer, logging into that scam site. They open it up. All of a sudden, the bad guys are on that computer and attacked in there. Unfortunately, it happens, believe it or not. So that's a version of that. So what's another one? Pretexting. Basically, the attacker's creating a scenario where you feel compelled under false pretenses to do something. That you're saying, okay, yeah, if I have to do this, like I have to send this money to get my kid out of India or something like that, or this person's in trouble. That's a pretexting message. Baiting, when they put something out there out of curiosity. top 10 actors from the 80s would be an example of that. Free ice cream on Sunday, whatever it may be. There's a lot of different ways that they could bait you into getting something. Some free giveaway or something like that is a key way of baiting. Tailgating, what they're going to do is use that as they're going to kind of follow you. When you're going into a secure website, they're going to follow you into that website and use your credentials in your way to basically walk right through you, like stand right. It's almost like you're in a revolving door and they're walking right through that door with you into the building. That's what tailgating is they're going into that building with you and following you. And this would be like a secure website. Piggybacking is very similar to tailgating, only in this case, they're following you, but they're following you because they're kind of threatening you or they're enticing you, like a carrot or the stick type of thing. They're saying, hey, listen, if you take me into this building, I'll give you this, or take me into this secure account, or I will do this. So basically what they're saying is they're making a threat or a promise saying, okay, get me into your Amazon account and I'll show you how to save 20%, or get me into your Amazon account, or I'm going to release this information. One or the other would be piggybacking. Quid pro quo would be basically saying, okay, we're going to do, if you do one thing, I'll do the other. So quid pro quo would be like almost like, let's say you were pretending to be a customer calling in to a company saying, hey, listen, or you pretend you're a vendor and you're calling into a place saying, hey, listen, we haven't received payment. I don't know if you have our updated payment location, but here's where you should wire that information for our updated payment information. That's a quid pro quo. All right. Another thing, we're on tip number 11, enhanced antivirus. Now, antivirus is constantly evolving. We have a great AV product that we have now, but we're actually changing it over to an even better one. Why are we doing that? Because there's better technology out there. It's important to keep staying on top of that technology. We're rolling out a brand new package to all of our clients that's an enhanced security. 3 or 4 years from now, we might be doing another one that's even better, a totally different product. Make sure your AV is up to date on your computers, but go one step further, and here's where it's the tough part. So bring your own device. People using their devices at home, this is where this starts to become a problem, right? Because you can't always control your team's devices. That's a problem, which means you don't know, not only did they update their AV, do they even have antivirus? You don't know. You don't know if they have a good one, if it's up to date, if they have anything at all. That's why we say businesses really need to kind of lock down on that bring your own device policy so that you can control the environment that they're browsing in. Same thing with the passwords. You can't control their password strength if they have their own devices. This is a huge problem. I get it. When COVID first started, a lot of companies had to do something just to get their team up on board and get them up online. I understand it, but those days are over. All of your team should be used company-owned and company-controlled devices in order to be able to lock down the security in your building. All right, last one, logging off. I can't tell you how many times we go into a client site and computers are just sitting there wide open to anybody walking by. It's so disheartening to see that. It's so important that you have your team lock those computers down. Again, especially in a BYOD, if somebody's working at home, you don't know who else is in their home. When they're working at Panera Bread, you don't know who else is there. It's so tough. You got to train your staff. All they have to do is hit the Windows key and L. That's it. That will lock the screen. That's all they have to do. Teach them that one keystroke to lock down that computer and bring it into a secure state. Really important that they focus on that. Okay, so those are our 12 tips. So basically, what did we learn? Basically, the staff awareness training is so important, and keeping your team up to date is so important. We just went through 12 steps. We probably could have done 50, but we did 12 key steps to keep your team safe and their browsing safe and your network safe. Please, please, please have them watch this training video as part of their onboarding and have them watch the other training videos that we offer for free. They're all up on our website, right on this location. Have them watch them, have them get trained, have them stay up to date. You can also run this free self-assessment, cybersecurity self-assessment. Our clients, we already run a monthly security scorecard for you. But those of you who are not our clients that are watching this, feel free to go up and run the cybersecurity assessment on yourself. It's free. completely free. Just go up there, no strings attached whatsoever. Go up to the website that you see listed on this page, see how you're doing. It should show you some basic blocking and tackling that you need to do. A lot of it's free. A lot of it's free. Okay, so that's the end of this presentation. One thing I want you to take away, two-factor authentication on everything. I hope this was helpful. Love to get some feedback from you to let us know if it's been helpful at all. Please have an amazing day. Have a safe day. Thank you very much.